The election of a pro-China president in South Korea. Could it lead to greater suffering for the most persecuted Christians in the world? Jeff King, the president of International Christian Concern, joins us to explain more about the possible impact of the election of Liberal Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-Myung. Jeff, we know Lee is pro-China and favors improved relations with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. China did a lot to influence the election, so what might a South Korea transition away from politics of the past mean for China and North Korean Christians?
Well, there's a lot of things, Gary. So first of all, he's going to tilt the country towards China. He's going to tilt the country towards North Korea. North Korea, South Korea, depending on who's in charge, receives a lot of defectors from North Korea, a lot of them Christians. The church is very strong in South Korea and working in North Korea. So that's going to come under a lot of scrutiny. He's probably going to shut that down. He could impose restrictions on the global missionary movement from South Korea, which is massive. And the big way to look at this is that, in South Korea, there's a massive number of very strong Christians. So he can only move at so fast a pace before he would get thrown out of power. So he's going to push the limits without straining his base and exposing who he is.
And show favor to China, I'm assuming. So
he will.
I know your organization and other persecution ministries often rank North Korea as the world's worst persecutor of Christians. So tell us what life is like for Christians in North Korea.
It is a place, it is a country that is a prison. And for Christians is especially so. So if you're a Christian and you get caught, you're a real Christian, let's say you have a Bible and you actually believe and you're trying to follow faith, you're going to get locked up. Your parents will get locked up. Your kids will get locked up. And when I say locked up, they go into a prison camp and it's where they're slowly starved. So they die out by disease, malnutrition, whatever. So the state can say, well, we didn't kill them. But that's what they're put to death, and they put to death maybe even 1 million Christians. But North Korea is a very strange place. There's a story I like to tell. One defector told me this. He was a Communist Party loyalist, and he fell out of favor, and he was arrested and tortured. And he said it was such a horrendous experience that to this day, when he's falling asleep, he has to have headphones on with music just to keep the demons at bay, so to speak. Wretched, wretched place, a complete prison state full of torture and evil.
And Juche is the national religion. That's worship of the nation's president and his ancestors, the previous Kim. So tell us more about Juche.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. So basically, they created a mirror of Christianity within the country. So instead of God, you have the founder, the communist founder of the country. Instead of the son, you have his son. Instead of the Bible, you have teachings of the dynasty. And you're told to study those. And then on Sunday, you get together and you confess your misdeeds. And you pray for wisdom and you berate each other and encourage each other to follow the state. And it's not by accident. This was all designed to exactly mirror Christianity. And the founder of Juche actually was a defector. So we have a lot of detail on it.
And Jeff, when people flee North Korea seeking freedom, many of them end up crossing the Yalu River into China, and often they seek out buildings with crosses attached, churches, because they've been told that people there will help them. What will a closer South Korea-China relationship mean for them, and how difficult will it be for them to make their way into South Korea? And do you expect South Korea will accept them or send them packing?
Yeah, what a great question. We've seen this before, unfortunately. So this isn't the first time that a candidate with money and influence from China or North Korea has been elected. So they will definitely say we're gonna focus more on dialogue with North Korea. Dialogue just means we're going to not put any pressure on them and let them do whatever they want. And with those defectors, they'll probably put a lot of scrutiny on that and shut it down. They're going to put pressure on efforts to bring the gospel into North Korea, and there's some amazing things happening. They're going to try to shut that down.
So no more balloon launches of the gospel into North Korea, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that's exactly one of the things. Or as you know, the rice bottles floating down the river. All the different ways, and including people going back and forth across the border. All that will be attempted to be shut down. I'm not sure it will be.
What can our viewers do then finally here, Jeff, for their persecuted brothers and sisters in North Korea? And I know many don't want us to pity them, but they ask that we pray. So what should we pray?
Well, we pray for boldness, always for boldness. You know, persecution, Satan creates it, but God uses it. And he will use it to hone and sharpen his church and make a church that's dependent on him. And when that happens, his power really flows. So we pray for that boldness to come from the Spirit, for the Spirit to spread. And then practically, look, there's things to be done. You know, years ago, we took a secular station that was beaming content into North Korea, and we paid for the gospel programming to go in and for scriptures to go in. But there's practical help like that, and Bibles to be smuggled, and all kinds of things, as you said, the balloon launches, all kinds of things you can do to put Christianity into North Korea. So, but above all, again, we pray, and we pray for the release of his Spirit.
Okay, people can find out more at your website, persecution.org. Jeff King, President of International Christian Concern, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.